figured you would. Because I thought, well, I'm going to run some errands after I left here.
Right, see, and that's
And so
why
I thought, well, I just
either.
come down by myself. Because that's usually
Well, I'm glad
what
you came. And I wasn't sure if
I was hoping you'd be here. Yeah, I was hoping you'd be here. No, you weren't. But I know you're very busy. You guys are
What I did last night. I did. I think we did last night.
Testing for what?
The water. So I put 4 3-year-olds. Mine.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Is the food good?
Yeah.
It's all right? Well, I can't wait to get something. I am starving. My presentation for this afternoon is called Influencing and Lobbying the Kansas Legislature. I want to start off by saying, I am not an expert by any means, okay? As I said before, I'm a freshman legislator, and again, my name is Representative Gail Finney, and I represent the 84th District. Today, I was hoping that if I could just kind of give you like a small insight on how things get done in the Kansas State Legislature. To start off, there's some basic things that you need to know. I'm sure maybe everybody knows that the state legislature is in Topeka, and in addition to that, it's part-time. And one of the things I didn't have up here, but you might want to know, we don't make very much money. Okay? I'm currently disabled because of my business, and I've been on disability, and I make more on disability than I do as a legislator. Does that tell you anything? That should tell you a lot. So it has to be a labor of love, you know, because you're not going to get rich at it. So we make $88.26 a day. That tells you anything. And it's part-time, and we only work for, I shouldn't say we only, that's not true, but the session is 90 days. Last year, it was January 11th until, actually the first week in June, but we take off a few weeks in April. So it's exactly 90 days that we work, it's exactly 90 days that we get paid for. So in addition to that, not only being part-time, but you don't really have a lot of time after you get elected and going through the legislature for the first few months. Even though we are working, in my opinion, it's a full-time job with part-time pay, we are still there trying to represent people throughout the year. Like, really, I get calls literally almost every day, and not to mention the number of emails that I get. I get so overwhelmed with so many emails with all my different state legislator email address and personal email address and business email address. But it's also good because that shows that there are a lot of people out there that need help. And some of the calls and some of the emails that I get from people, they're basically, how do I get my unemployment? Can you help me get my unemployment? I mean, how do I go about getting disability? Or my kids have been taken. I mean, the issues, I just get surprised with the number of issues that a lot of people are having, and sometimes they are really distraught to a lot of people. So your legislators, they should really, if you have a really good legislator, they want to listen to you, and they want to respond to your email, and they will talk to you. So when I ran, I decided I want to be able to be a good representative for the people that I represent in the 84th district. But a lot of times, I guess I'm getting a reputation of trying to help people so much. I get calls from other people from different districts, which is okay. The state legislature, it consists of 2 different chambers, a state representative, which I am, and then there's the state senators. The difference is the pay, well, I should say there's really not much difference, but in the Senate side, there's only 40 state senators in the whole state of Kansas, and there are 125 state representatives. We all make the same amount of money, but the difference is the senators, they have like it's about 4 different districts. In my district, I represent 22,000 registered voters, and a senator, they represent like 4 different districts. And they have a little bit more of a budget as far as like we have $900 that we could use to send information to our constituents. And the senators, they have $3,000. as whereas we have a secretary on the state representative side where we have to share with a total of 3 of us. We share, anywhere from 2 to 3, we share a secretary where your state senator has a secretary during the session. So that's kind of like what the difference is, but we all are kind of set up and we do basically the same thing. Also, one thing about being in the different chambers, there is, how can you say this, the senators, in my opinion, I think they have more responsibility. What I mean by more responsibility is so few, comparatively to the state representatives, they seem like they have more of a workload because they're trying to go through the same, they have to go through the same deals that we have to go through when trying to pass laws. Well, the interesting side about it, though, being in the state legislature, you get a chance to meet a lot of different people. And you have people that are coming there that have issues that sometimes you feel like there's nothing that you can do about because it can be overwhelming. But some of the people that come to the legislature, you'll be surprised at some of the, what I call the strategies that they use. This year, being my first, I learned a lot as far as like some of the organizations that come through there on how they're trying to get attention from the different legislators. You'd be surprised. I'm going to share with you, I'm going to pass this around while I'm talking. This is just one example. And that what I passed to her was the Seniors Care Act, the organization that provide meals on wheels to our community. They did a campaign where they sent those plates. I mean, that's just only a portion of them. I have stacks like this of plates on my desk. And on the back of them, it shows, on the front and on the back, sometimes it has their name and saying that they support the Senior Care Act, the Meal Act, and please don't take away our meals on wheels and so forth like that. So that's just one of the things that, or I should say one of the strategies that some of the people use this last legislature tried to get our attention. Now, each chamber between the state senators and the state representatives, we all can produce legislation. But a lot of time our legislation comes from ideas from organizations and groups like yourself. For instance, like next year I will be introducing a resolution and a proclamation on behalf of people with lupus, trying to get the Lupus Awareness and Education Act in the state of Kansas, and also just an opportunity so that the state legislature, the state elected officials, all of us, and also the executive branch, to know that lupus is rampant. There are a lot of people in Kansas that are affected. So basically, it's just an opportunity to build more awareness within our state for lupus. As far as the legislature and the state of Kansas on how we are set up, a lot of people, including myself, really didn't know the powers of the different branches of the state. Like the judiciary, everybody knows what the judiciary does. Those are the courts. They're the ones that they can make a decision on your life before you even know what has happened, and it can affect you dramatically, positively, negatively, or whatever. But that's the judiciary branch. A lot of people are familiar with that. But also, there's the executive branch. And a lot of people don't realize how powerful the executive branch is. Of course, it includes the governor, but with my experience over this last session, the executive branch is like the secretary of SRS, Don Jordan. I'm sure a lot of you probably people heard of Mr. Jordan. Those secretaries can be so powerful. You can have the legislative branch, which I am a part of, but if you can't get those secretaries sometimes to buy into what you're trying to do, or even if we pass a law or a resolution, it can be really difficult. I didn't realize the power that all 3 of these have. And sometimes you have what you call a tug-of-war of power between these different branches. Perfect example. My first session, I was able to introduce a piece of legislation and it passed on the Senate side.